Good evening, everybody. Anybody that's outside, if you want to just come on in and have a seat. We have a great show tonight for you, so there's some good stuff going on. So I'd like to call this meeting of Tuesday, January 8th, 2019 to order. If you join me in the moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, well, a couple things before we get started. We have a couple of ill members, unfortunately, that have fallen to the bug that's going around. So Sarah and Denise won't be joining us tonight. They send their regrets, and we wish them well, and hopefully it doesn't go any further than that, and we're all set with that. We will start off right away with the public comment period. Anybody for public comment? Monica?
I'm Monica Lawton, 11 Story Street. I had the privilege of being part of the Rockport New Year's Eve Planning Committee this year for the first time. And I have to say, it was from sort of the insider in, outsider view, it was just a fabulous evening. We had over 2,200 people, many of whom were from out of town this year. And all of the inns were full, so we brought people in who patronized some of our local businesses. All of the feedback we got was just tremendous, the entertainment and the overflowing halls, et cetera. I just wanted to mention it here. I don't know if any of the selectmen had a chance to see it, but it was really quite special, I think. And I wanted to publicly thank the town for support of the event, and I know the chief was back here, and I want to thank the police as well for their part in making the whole evening a success. So thank you on behalf of the committee.
Thank you. Yeah, I unfortunately wasn't here. It was that I was out of town, but it seemed like it was a great success, and thank you to everybody who really got involved and made it such a great success. And it's things like that and others that are really extending the shoulder seasons. So we're kind of bringing it all together, so it's a great thing.
Very much so. And I will say, I think, as I said, we had a lot of out-of-towners, and that's good, but we never want to lose the local support. And I think a good number of people sat it out this year, maybe thinking they've been there, done that before, but we bring in new things every year, and I urge you, if you didn't make it this year, please come next year, because it is a fabulous event.
Well, thank you to you and all the volunteers, so that's great. Thank you so much.
Can I just jump in for 1 minute? I was talking to a person out of town about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they were asking what I was going to do for New Year's Eve, and I said that I was going to go to downtown. We're going to go to First Night in Rockport, and she said, Rockport always has such nice traditions, and the 4th of July parade, the Oktoberfest, and the Christmas patch. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So the First Night in Rockport is really well done, and that started about 23 years ago when Claire Franklin went to Newburyport and for First Night, and she said, why can't we take what's going on in Newburyport and do it in Rockport? And at that time, if you remember, 22 years ago, a lot of towns had First Nights. Beverly had it, Gloucester had it, Newburyport, and I think it's just Newburyport and Rockport now, and Boston, obviously. But they do a great job, so.
I'll make one additional comment. We had a couple of people, a young couple, come up to the desk at Spirant Hall to say, unsolicited, that they go to First Nights all over the country every year for the past 10 years, New York, California, Colorado, and this was the best they'd ever attended.
Awesome.
We didn't ask that
Wow.
comment.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's great.
That's great. That's perfect. Well, that's great. Toby?
Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. Here I have the Rockport Community Resilience Workshop, May 29, 2018 summary of findings. I asked Joe Parisi for the final report of the, what is it called? the Rockport Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program, and this is what he gave me. It clearly isn't a final report. It can't be. You expect such things to be written in a mixture of bureaucraties and technobabble, but this surpasses the usual. It is utter gibberish. I would defy anyone to make sense of it. And yet we've all paid for it, and a considerable effort has gone into it. I don't believe it's the final report, so perhaps we can hope for better. I ran into Sam Cleaves. He was the agent for this effort from the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. I ran into him the day before Thanksgiving up at the Market Basket and asked him if it was completed, and he said his part of it was, and he also told me that a standard part of such a production was a public hearing or a public presentation of the plan. And that would be up to your board, I do believe. Have you made any plans for such a presentation?
No.
I see. I asked Mr. Cleaves if he would attend such a thing, and he didn't sound enthused, but he said he might. I think you should press him to attend, and I believe if you're going to get the thing accredited, which you definitely want to do because you're interested in grants, which would depend upon it. So I think it unlikely that you would be able to hold a meeting any time in January, but I would hope that you would schedule a meeting sometime thereafter and get some of the people who attended this strange meeting to attend that one. Also, Mr. Cleaves. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think Denise Donnelly has been really on top of that, so I think she would be the one. And unfortunately, she's not here, so I'll defer to her next week, and we can go from there. Anybody else for public comment? Mr. Sepula.
Yeah, Z Seppel on 92 Granite Street. I think I have a reason not to be caustic tonight, Don, because
That's
you've
good
taken
news,
away
Enos.
the only reason I came here tonight, which was Article G here, interview of Laureen Wessel and Carl Engel as members of the Finance Committee. I'd be very interested to hear what they have to say in terms of why they'd like to be on it. Can you tell me why this item was taken off the agenda?
Absolutely, because of an item that's been this important and this much of a hot button in this community deserves the full board. I conferred with Mitch today, and we decided that we could put it off safely without jeopardizing any of the timelines for financial matters. So we're going to wait till we have the full board here and then address it at that point. That's the only reason why.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Anybody else with public comment? Bob?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I too will try to be quick and nice with all of that.
Yeah,
Guys
protection.
All right? God bless you as well for what you do. So just quick, if I could. Especially for the new members, unfortunately, Denise is absent tonight. So what I could do is probably send something into your emails just to make it quicker tonight. But the benefits, we had a thing going back, I guess it started around 2013. Firemen got talking. Bob Parody, fireman in Rockport. And we were worried about what happens, if we get hurt and those types of issues. So a year later, in 2014, the end of that year, Captain Tansen, we asked to write a letter to the Board of Engineers, which he did. It took another year for us to meet up at the high school. And at that meeting, we came out of there thinking we were going to form a committee of firefighters and town representatives. So we could sit down and, from both viewpoints, you don't want anybody to play the game, get hurt, type of thing, but yet, geez, what happens to my wife and kids and so forth? So that's kind of still up there. I'd like to bring that back into play. I've sent some requests for minutes to Assistant Chief, who is also the clerk of the Board of Engineers, Porter. He denied me that verbal wasn't enough to request some minutes, so I emailed him the next day. I still haven't heard anything back on that. That goes back a couple of years. Gave it $20 through Mitch to the town for a copy of a tape-recorded meeting. I still haven't got anything on that. I've asked the Board of Selectmen for help. First time was February 13th, 2018. Didn't hear anything. Came back April 10th, a couple months later, 2018. And then 4 months later in August of 2018. And asked her again. By the way, those minutes aren't online yet. I haven't been able to find them posted. Could have been an oversight. Another issue would be the Pigeon Cove Station. We got 300,000 CPC money. Thank you, Ruth, for helping us with that. We had to get an extension. The bids aren't even drawn up yet, you know? What, 3 years now? What the hell? I asked for proof that Mitch is the right guy, versus what I see in the personnel bylaw, to handle non-union personnel, which is us firemen. So I'd like you to look into that. What I'll do too is I'll when I email you tomorrow there, so I'll include where I see that it's not been changed in the personnel file. Could have been an oversight, I could be wrong. And we can wrap it up right there for you, so I'll be in touch.
Thank you,
Maybe
Bob.
get
I
back
appreciate
to
it.
me
Looking forward to it.
and, review those meetings we've had where I've asked for copies of all that correspondence. A couple of letters I've sent to you before, way back through the town administrator's office and so forth. So I'm another verbal request. You know, I'm not being a stickler, you got timelines, but we're going back a couple of years, so,
Right.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Bob. We appreciate it. Anybody else for public comment tonight? No? Okay. Just a couple of things to go over real quick for anybody that's here, so you know if you're here for a certain issue that is not going to be heard tonight. As was said earlier by Mr. Sepula, the interview of Lorraine Wessel and Carl Engel for the Finance Committee will not happen tonight because we want the full board here. So if you're here for that, I apologize, but we're going to do it this way. The establishment of a definition of the gourmet specialty store and alcohol license, again, this commands the attention of the entire board, so we're going to wait on that one. And the plan on the timeline on the Dogtown nomination, again, a full board is really required for that. It's not required, it's just, it's a better way to go about it, so the entire board is here. So if you're here for any of those issues, we invite you to stay, we'd love to have you, but they won't be heard tonight, okay? So we are going to move on to the, what I will consider the highlight of the night, the interview of one sergeant position with Dan Mahoney. Is there a motion?
Yes, there is. I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Daniel Mahoney to the position of Sergeant of the Rockport Police Department.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Ruth,
I'm just
go
gonna
ahead.
s-
Please, go
I'm
ahead.
just going to say that I usually recuse myself because I have a family member on the force, but because of the rule of necessity tonight, I will be voting.
It's a good vote to be taken tonight, too, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, well, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, thank you.
As you know, we're here for an interview for a sergeant's position within the Rockport Police Department.
Am I too late to apply, by the way?
Next week would be
Next
fine.
week.
Yeah, we'll take you next week.
Go ahead.
So we're fortunate enough to have an outstanding candidate. So Dan Mahoney's been with the police department for about 14 years now. He's done pretty much every role and responsibility in the police department, including being an officer in charge for several years, as well as an acting sergeant this year. So we couldn't have a stronger candidate. He is the only sitting individual on the civil service list for sergeant for the department. He took the test, applied himself, and passed. Did very well, and we're very excited to have him in this position and being able to sit for this interview. So I know he's very eager to answer your questions. So at this point, I'll turn him over to you.
That's okay. Well, I got to tell you, in such a small town, to have the caliber of officers that we have, and I mean that in fire and police and EMS and all of our harbor master, all our town services, we're very, very fortunate, and I mean that sincerely. So with that, Dan, tell us what's going on here. Tell us about yourself and what you have planned.
Well, I have friends and family here tonight to help support me, and they've supported me throughout this whole endeavor, and becoming a law enforcement officer was something I've always wanted to do. I've had a lot of support from the chief, lieutenant especially, and I just want to, help the residents in town and beyond even, so. I'm
I know
looking
that
forward.
the people that I speak to have very high regard for you, and, you know, being elevated into a supervisory position is a big deal. And I think that's a great thing. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you,
And thank you for the dedication you have to the department. It's noticed.
thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn it over, Ruthie?
Sure, I'll ask a question. I know that there are a lot of young people on the force right now, and that's a big reason that we need an extra sergeant on. What strengths do you think that you will bring to the sergeant position with these young folks?
Like the chief said, I have a lot of experience doing a lot of things. I've taken a lot of them under my wing. Now that I'm a sergeant, I have that authority to kind of really push them and show them the ropes. I've done everything from defensive tactics training to firearms training, even, current day with the new recruits coming on board. So I have a lot to offer, and I'm not afraid to share it, so.
Yes.
Well, congratulations, Dan.
Thank you.
You're going to make a great sergeant. You're already making a great sergeant.
Thanks.
Is there any particular skill set that you bring to the Rockport Police Department that you'd like to focus on moving forward, for the rest of your career in Rockport?
Yeah, I'm more of a diplomatic kind of a supervisor. I listen to a lot of what's going on, and I try to implement a lot of things that, my beliefs based off of what I hear. So I'm not really, this is how it's going to be type of deal. I listen to everybody and kind of make things work somehow. I'm not going to make everybody happy, I know that, but at least that's the philosophy I take.
Good, excellent.
Thanks.
Well, that's great. Along with that, we have what I would almost say is one of the most important aspects of this, and that's the family and friends of the officers that are here. Without them and the things that we do, and again, I've said this before in meetings and I'll say it again, people think that we're in a small town and nothing can happen. It's, kind of mundane, but it just takes that one incident for something to happen. And it's when the support of the community, family, and friends shines through these officers that we have, that we're very fortunate to have here. So I'd just like to thank you, and I'd like to thank the family and friends, and I'd like to recognize them if that's okay. Janine Mahoney, right here. Rosemary, his mom, thank you so much. Rick Buss, Rick's stepdad. Don Mahoney. Hey, Don, thanks for coming. Ann Mahoney, stepmom, thank you so much. And we have some friends here, some guests from out of town. We'd like to welcome them. Somerville PD Sergeant Sean Sylvester.
I thought they were going to join the department.
Yeah, right?
We're trying.
Right, exactly.
Expensive.
We did.
That's next budget season.
Right, exactly. And Somerville PD Sergeant Jimmy Slattery. We'd like to welcome you to Rockport and thank you for being here. It's kind of you to take time out of your day and your family time to come here to support our new sergeant. So he's among good ranks here. So thank you for that. And with that, I would like to invite Dan's son, Jason, the chief, and the lieutenant to have the badge pinning, if that's okay. What's that? Take the vote? Oh, I apologize. One quick moment. You guys get set up. We're going to go through a formality of the vote here real quick. Can I get the?
You want me to do the motion again?
Yep, please.
I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Daniel Mahoney to the position of Sergeant in the Rockport Police Department.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Carries 3-0. With that, now we may.
Thank you.
Please.
If everybody could just indulge me for a couple more minutes, I just have something else I need to cover, so. So Dan doesn't know anything about this, so if he looks like he's gonna pass out, the lieutenant's there to catch him. So, as if Sergeant Mahoney's promotion this evening wasn't great enough, we do have something else to cover for him this evening. In 2016, the police department adopted and put into practice a commendations process in order for us to recognize police department members as well as community members for their contributions as well as strong performance within our community. Sergeant Mahoney has participated in both of our commendation ceremonies as a member of the Honor Guard as well as recognized for his performance. In case you don't know, 2018, Sergeant Mahoney had an extraordinary year. The amount of quality work he completed while multitasking in several areas was beyond compare. A few examples of the work he completed includes fulfilling his duties and responsibilities as an OIC and an acting sergeant, while providing valuable supervision and mentoring for new department members. Completion of numerous sensitive, complex investigations which required a high level of intelligence, long, strenuous hours, patience and tact, and the ability to exhaustively follow all leads while coordinating the efforts of other members of our department. As a key contributor to the school safety group, Dan facilitated ALICE training for our school community in the area of dealing with an active threat. And as the police department's first ALICE instructor, Sergeant Mahoney also trained several community groups as well as other town departments. He stepped forward and took the lead as our mental health liaison and point of contact through Leahy Health, and he also developed policy and procedure this year for our department, as well as supervised the community outreach unit deployment to town beaches and quarries throughout the summer. He became certified as a level 3 firearms instructor this year and completed annual training for all department members in the area of firearms, as well as all new firearms training for all of our new officers. Sergeant Mahoney has completed pre-employment background investigations for new hires, as well as processed numerous license to carry applications for community members. Lastly, Sergeant Mahoney took over the fleet vehicle assignment for our department to ensure that our department has safe vehicles for our officers to operate. And if all that's not enough, he's also a patrol officer and answers call for service during the day. So this just gives you a window into what this individual does for our department in this community. I can go on with Sergeant Mahoney's exceptional accomplishments over the past year, but it is obvious that he has taken his role in our department to a new level. And each and every day he supports our mission, and we appreciate that. Sergeant Mahoney, your work ethic and pride in service for 2018 is exceptional, and it is for all these reasons that you deserve this official recognition. You have been nominated and proved to receive the Police Department's prestigious Officer of the Year Award for 2018. It is worthy to note that this is the first time this award has ever been given. Please step forward and receive your commendation. Open up. Thank you, everyone.
That was great.
Thank you, board members. Appreciate it.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dan.
Congratulations. We'll just take a quick second here and let everybody clear out. What a great thing. What a great thing. All right. Let's get it. That cleared the room out, huh?
Turn this.
Oh, you weren't on? You also, you weren't on?
Is this guy here from Greenville? This? Or are we doing something else in Greenville?
Let me,
He just walked
is
in.
he, is Woodland Acres is here?
Oh, Woodland. Okay.
Yeah, the guy in second row is Woodland Acres.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other one, I think, would be the Boy Scouts, but I don't see it.
Yep,
There's
there you
no
go.
names for one of the Boy Scouts in the Woodland Acres?
Do you want to, so let's get through
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
let's
okay,
get
what
through
you
here
got? Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Get down here and then we'll,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Traffic and parking.
Nancy's here for her interview as well.
Okay, good. Perfect. Perfect, okay. All right, that's great. And if anybody, congratulations to the officers, but if we could just move everything back, we're going to continue with the meeting, that would be great. Can we? Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Can't shut them.
Mitch, can we do something here? Just, no, I don't want to close them, yeah. Yeah, I just don't, I want the people here that are here for the meeting. Thank you, Mitch. All right, so we're going to keep going. Next on the agenda is the interview of Nancy Kearns as a member of the Traffic and Parking Committee. Is there a motion?
I move to nominate Nancy Kearns as a member of the Traffic and Parking Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2019.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Nancy? There you are. There you go. Whatever's more comfortable for you. If you'd like to have a seat, please, by all means, go right ahead. No problem. So you want to jump in the hot seat with parking, huh?
Yes, I
think-
thought I'd give it a
I
try.
think it's a great thing. And we've read through, but for the benefit of everybody at home, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, how you've been involved already.
Sure. I have been in Rockport since the 1980s. I have been involved in town government in assorted capacities, library trustee, council on aging, work for the building inspector's office, and have actually clerked for the Traffic and Parking Committee and feel like I can bring a unique perspective to the group at this point. So I was honored to be asked to consider it.
Sounds like the only thing you weren't on was the Board of Selectmen.
No, thank you. You
Is that
guys
next?
do no, you guys do a great job with that.
No, well, thank you. Well, it's great. Thank you for stepping up. And you've been the secretary. It's been 6 or 7 years. Is that about right?
Yeah,
That's
it's been
great.
a while.
So the insight you have into how everything operates and how everything goes, you're right on top of things, and we know. So you're hitting the ground running with all of this, of course. And you'll continue in your capacity as secretary. And,
Absolutely.
okay, that's great. That's great.
Win-win.
Great.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's a perfect match for this. I think it works out very well.
Thank you.
I'll open up the questions, Ruthie.
No, I was just going to ask that you're going to stay on as the secretary. That's great. Because
Sure.
you've got all that knowledge and all that history with them. You know the concerns. So that would be great that you'll be a voting member.
Well,
Welcome.
I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome.
That's
That's great.
No, I think we've covered everything.
That's
Okay.
great.
Thanks,
Well,
Nancy.
Yeah, thank you so much. And we won't, next meeting will be the official vote. You know how this works.
Yes, I've been here, so.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thanks,
Did we
Nancy.
close this motion out?
You just need to.
We just need to
do
vote.
the vote, yes, sir.
You just need to vote. Okay. You've heard the motion, you've heard the interview. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. Great. We are going to move on to the approval of minutes, December 4th, 2018. Is there a motion?
I move that the selectmen approve the minutes of December 4th, 2018.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any changes, additions, subtractions? Go ahead.
I had one change, but I'm not sure if it was to that set of minutes or the other one, and that was, we had a quote from Jason Shaw that said Jason Grow, and you were going to change, the secretary was going to change that, or transcriber was going to change that, but I'm not sure whether it was the December 4th or the December 10th meeting. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Good. I see it's right here on page 2 of 6 is Jason Grow.
But
Yep.
it was Jason Shaw.
Yep. So that's good. So other than that, anything else?
Nope. that was it.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you so much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. On to the approval of minutes for December 10th, 2018.
I move that the selectmen approve the minutes of December 10th, 2018.
Seconded?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Anything we need to change on this one?
Nope.
You were good on the last
Nope.
one. Did you find
Nope.
anything else?
Nope, didn't
No?
find anything.
All right, we're
We're
good.
good.
So we're all set. Eileen's right on top of things. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we're going to jump right into the selectmen and town administrator updates and liaison reports, and we'll start with you, Mitch.
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Thank you. The first item that I have is.
Wait a minute, can I want to stop for 1 second, I'm sorry. I want to congratulate Mitch. I should have said this at the
Oh,
beginning.
yes.
I'm remiss
Yes.
on this.
Yep.
I apologize. Mitch had a beautiful baby girl. Want to give us the specifics?
On December 20th, my wife and I were blessed to welcome our daughter, Annabelle Mary, into our family. So very exciting, whole new world at home, but wonderful, wonderful change. So
Right.
we're so blessed.
Like you needed more on your plate.
It's all good. Every
It's a
day's new
beautiful
and
thing.
exciting.
Well, I apologize for not saying it sooner. It was my fault. But congratulations. I'd like to- That's great. Thank you.
Thank you
And
very much.
Again,
A,
go
a
ahead.
big girl, nine
9 pounds, 5 ounces. Big
Oh,
girl.
wow.
Yes. So she's doing fantastic.
Great.
So,
That is-
Wait till they become teenagers.
Yeah.
I'm told to watch out
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah. We'll
Right
talk.
now, it's physically emotional.
Right.
Yeah.
Physically exhausting. When you get to teenagers, it's emotional.
Emotionally exhausted. Yes.
That exactly.
No, that's great, Mitch. Congratulations.
Thank you again. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. So please,
No, that's good.
continue, Mitch.
So certainly busy time, a lot going on.
Other than the baby.
Other than the baby, yes. Budget season right now, as everybody is aware, the departments have their budgets are in soft right, and the finance director and I are in the process of digging through those, reviewing the memos that were filled out. As the board is aware, we had all the departments this year input justifications in detail for each of the budget lines into the memo field in soft right, so that every line now has an explanation with it. Some may seem straightforward, others not so much. So we've tried to remove some of the opacity that was in that process, and every line now should have a straightforward, simple explanation in it. Requests are looking good so far. We're going to be working on that over the next couple of weeks, and we'll address that further on another item that I have about scheduling as we talk about the board's upcoming meeting. So
We're going to be busy this month.
yes, this is going to be a busy month, very
It's
busy
a
month.
busy month.
Upcoming also, as an FYI, we've altered our schedule a little bit on the compliance materials that we do every year. So the ethics test and the summary and the anti-harassment policy, we've shifted our schedule a bit. For the last few years, we had it at the end of the year, and it was in December, and it was just a lot with the holidays, so we felt that we're going to slide that forward a little bit. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be sending out those materials again, so I'm putting it out there now, boards, committees, commissions, and all employees, something to be aware of, that the annual stuff is coming again. And another item, there's a memo on the board's table from Joe Parisi regarding Long Beach and the seawall stabilization improvements. So I will start out with, and I'll walk through a bit more here, but you have the memo for the full detail. This was not necessarily the ideal route that we wanted to go, but we played the hand we were dealt, and we're moving forward. So we had received a grant in the amount of $750,000 from the seawall program, and we had put in for that. And we have two portions of that. One of them is, the first phase of that is placing approximately 2,500 tons of granite revetment stone that needs to be placed in front of the seawall. We did some of that work on an emergency basis last year, and as I have some photos here. So as the board is aware, that was critical to maintaining the integrity of the structure. So we're at the point where we need to carry out some of that work again. So we got an additional grant. As part of getting that additional grant, we needed to come up with our 25%. So the 25% for the Phase 1 project is approximately $70,000. Again, not ideal, but we are at the point where DPW feels that it is a critical safety issue, that we act on that. The wall and the sand in the area showing similar signs that it did this time last year before we had our issue. A good example is, we have some photos. October 29th, this was a portion of the seawall. As you can see, the sand is filled in very nicely. So that was October 29th. November 28th, this is what it looked like. The sand was gone. Again, it moves every year. We expect that. Some years it takes more than others, and the wall is already in a state that is less than ideal. So when it takes a little bit more, it inflicts a bit more pain and a bit more potential for liability for us. As it came out this year, you can see there are additional areas of exposed footing on the wall. Right here is where we stopped with the stone revetment work last time on that emergency basis. And we have this grant, and there are significant concerns from Public Works that to avoid either a repeat of last year or a more significant failure this year of the wall, that we need to move forward this month with getting that revetment stone into place. So again, our local match on that is approximately $70,000. So the reserve fund is not available right now. We're not able to wait for a town meeting because of that particular issue. So we had some initial conversations a while back with DPW and with some previous finance committee members about how we'd be able to utilize this. And so the DPW director was asked to look in his budget to see what he could do to come up with that matching funds. Again, not ideal, but as a safety measure, we felt that we needed to take that action. We felt that there really wasn't another choice. So Joe has located the transfer of funding inside his budget. He has some savings that he's realized in his solid waste budget that he has processed a transfer for to his beach and parks budget. So again, now what we wanted to do, I think everybody's feeling, but we do need to do it. We're at a point where the liability level for us would be quite significant, and the emergency work would have to do would be quite significant if there was any type of failure this time, because the wall is, as we know, already in a very poor state. So he will move ahead with that. The transfer is an administrative matter. It was approved by the appointing authority for the department, so the chair of the DPW commissioners signed that transfer form, as well as Joe in processing that request. So I bring it forward and make the board aware and make the public aware of it this evening so that everybody is on the same page and we're putting it out there. At the end of the day, we had to look at safety and risk management as the two priorities for that. So we are moving forward with that particular project.
And they're feeling like that this measure will give it a level of shoring up that will hopefully sustain it through what hopefully is a very mild winter.
Yes, so our hope is that certainly piling it as we did this last time, that will provide a level of protection that will be helpful to us. And again, certainly they need a process. They need to go through their normal process, the permitting, et cetera, and carry out whatever they haven't done yet. But administratively, this is where we are right now, and we simply must avoid any kind of catastrophic failure,
Right.
which is what we could face. One nor'easter could cause significant damage for us. So we're trying to address it now. We have the grant money now, and the time is now, unfortunately, that we need to act on it. So they'll start later this month working around the tide cycles to try to get some of that revetment stone in.
How long do they think it's going to take to get it all done?
Depends on the weather, depends on how well they can play the tides. I would think a couple of weeks, depending on all those variables coming together, getting the permitting, whatever they don't already have in place, getting that squared away. I would defer to Joe on whatever he has for his permitting requirements. He knows that. So that's really where we are. It's more of an FYI and in full disclosure to put it out there so that the public is fully aware and that the board is aware of it. So that's what I have on that particular topic.
Good, and I know, go ahead, Ruth, you have a question?
A question. So is this continuing where we left off or adding to where we've done it already, to add revetment stone to that?
So it's additional areas. It's
Okay,
additional areas.
areas, okay,
Yes.
yeah. That's what I thought
Yep.
you meant, okay.
And it's designed to get, quoting from Joe's memo, it's designed to both prevent excessive scouring of the beach in front of the seawall to minimize it, as well as to provide some level of resistance to the front of it. So it's
Yeah,
additional
okay.
area.
Perfect.
I think it's well needed.
So,
And I know that is also, and I know you're going to touch on this in a bit, but we have a whole bunch of things that we need to talk about coming up with a multitude of issues in town. Long Beach is on that list, and this will be part of that discussion. So there's a Long Beach sewer capacity budget. There's a whole bunch of stuff we're going to talk about tonight, about meetings that will be scheduled to address these issues.
yes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So there are a couple of items that I'll address as the items appear on the action list, but another one, just to put it out there to everyone, as is usual, and to give some kudos to our Public Works Department and our employees. Everybody's ready to go for winter preparations. The snow is starting somewhat in earnest now, and the ice is making its way out. But just to put it out there so everybody's aware, as usual, our Public Works crew is fully prepared and ready to go, and they've been out salting a couple of times already. But just to make everybody aware, we're good with that. And the procedure for any snow parking bans is the identical procedure to last year. So we'll follow through on that process. That worked well, and we utilize the same methods to get that message out to everybody.
I will say, and Dawn's heard me that numerous times, it's wonderful to drive downtown Rockport at 10:30 at night when it's 45 degrees and knowing that people can park. They don't have to pull their car off, and it worked last year fairly well, like most communities. Took us a while to get there, but I think people really appreciate it.
It was definitely a team effort with the committees in town, the DPW, the
Yep.
police, everybody, and it was, I think, I still now, and we're, 2.5 years into this, I believe it was the right decision.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was good. It's worked out well.
Yes, so we feel like we're in a good place on that, and all will be as it was last year for those who are watching this later for notification purposes. The next item is some additional meetings. So the board has, let me just pull up my calendar. The board's regular meetings this month, tonight obviously, and the 22nd. So I'm suggesting to the board, and would seek your consensus, that we add 2 additional meetings in on the 2 remaining Tuesdays to accommodate some additional items that the board does need to tackle. So the first one being the 29th.
It's my birthday. You can't meet.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Not as much as I am.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
That is the meeting that I'm proposing that the board conduct its budget review and its budget approval. Our normal process. The finance director and I are preparing some, a little bit of a different process that hopefully gets a little more information out and hits the highlights so we can move through the process quickly. If we need to go line by line in some areas, we will. Otherwise, we'll hit increases, decreases, highlights on those, and move through.
And now, I haven't seen the soft right side of this yet, but I got to imagine that makes things exponentially easier.
It does. All parties had agreed at the end of the last budget cycle that we would move away from the Excel spreadsheet as our master document. And so that will be used to run any scenarios that we need to do, but the master document will be in SoftWrite this year. That will be our control, and we pay a lot of money for that software. It's robust enough to handle it. It will all live there. So we will, proposing that meeting be the budget meeting.
And that's going to be its own meeting.
Correct. That would be a standalone item. Barring any emergencies or issues, that would be the plan. And I would also seek through consensus from the board that you add another meeting next Tuesday. So the board has a lot of items ahead of it. Some of the most pressing items certainly are the ones that we adjusted this evening to accommodate. The board does need to take some action, certainly on the Finance Committee. We have 2 individuals who previously served who are ready to be interviewed again. I'm meeting with 4 individuals over the next 2 days to have some conversations about what it entails and what goes into it. We'll provide them some documentation. Basically, we want them to come into this eyes wide open to make sure they're comfortable with their commitment. So they'll be hopefully they'll all be on board, and we'll look to interview them next week as well to keep the process going. And that way, the board could do the final appointment on the 22nd, which would be great, which would bring the board to capacity, Finance Committee to capacity prior to your budget meeting, so they'd have some additional time to review what's in front of them.
And we're getting experience on here. We're not just grabbing the first people to come along, because this has obviously been, a bit of an issue, to say the least. And but people are coming on here, it seems, that have the experience, that have the knowledge, that this is not a kind of learn as you go thing. There's already the experience there.
I believe both have served on the Finance Committee.
Laureen and Carl have, yes.
Yeah.
And we have 4 other individuals who have expressed interest and who have very good backgrounds, which could lend themselves very nicely to the Finance Committee. So again, we'll review that. We'll make sure they know everything in the next couple of days going into it, give them some time to think about it, and then hopefully do the interviews of them as well on the 15th. That would be the plan right now. Again, barring some time, then we want to get it all done by the 22nd.
Excellent.
That's good.
So the also on the agenda that I would suggest for next week, the gourmet and specialty store alcohol license. So we've heard from the State House, and the legislature and the ABCC have 2 housekeeping adjustments they'd like the board to consider. So we'll be presenting those next week. They're very ministerial adjustments to the document. And then they'd also like us to move forward with defining gourmet and specialty store. So we had two options in front of us in my conversations with Senator Tarr's legal counsel, that they could codify that in the legislation, or they could simply reference the definition as found in the Rockport alcohol regulations. My comment to them was that the preference, in my belief, would be that we'd rather have that codified in our alcohol regulations rather than have something that would take further legislation again to change if we had it that way.
We have control.
Yes, I think that's a more appropriate method. So they'd like us to move forward on that to get a better idea. The ABCC, there isn't a particular license for something like this, so they're curious to see what the board wants to do before they lend their support or not to the overall article. So I'm going to do a very rough draft and share that with the board so that you can have some time to review it individually and then bring your comments for discussion to that meeting to review and consider it.
Perfect.
And again, a very long list of other items that I would look to ask the board to schedule after next week. So an action item to schedule additional meetings and to place several topics. Very quickly and not all inclusive or exhaustive, the board has some executive sessions to plan for Long Beach, to make some determinations on that. Sewer capacity is an outstanding item that's been going on that requires some conversation. The DPW barn, marine fueling facility, Granite Pier extension, and then we're also looking to get the senator and the representative back in, reschedule. We postponed that previously, as well as several other items that the board has on its plate. So we'll be looking to get those booked with the board next week, whether it's additional meetings or if the board wants to add those on to already scheduled ones. So,
And who do we have coming up for our I don't want to say liaison, but the boards and committees coming in? I mean, can we use that time slot to maybe put some of the stuff in there and set the time aside?
we certainly can, yes. I think we're actually, in speaking with our office manager, we've hit the majority of them already. There are some that, of course, are cyclical, like DPW comes in quarterly, or we try to get them quarterly. So those will continue through. So we have a little bit of breathing room now to add some additional items to those agendas. So.
I'm looking forward to when the second meetings come in from people, so we can really kind of get going. We had the launch on the whole thing, if you will, but now the second meetings will really kind of get into the weeds on things, which is good.
Yes, so we'll give folks a little bit of time to get back into the boards and committees. Everybody went somewhat dormant, as usual, over the holidays, so we'll give them some time to get settled again, and then that'll allow this board some time to act on or consider at least some of these other items as we move forward.
Perfect.
So, again, we'll continue to go through the budget. Will have its own item. The finance director has been very, very diligently working on this. As the board recalls, it took some action on that particular position a couple of months ago, coordinating the budget. That position coordinates the budget. That position oversees the other finance departments and other additional projects associated with that. And that has worked out, even in the short time, to be tremendously helpful. So it's been a great addition. With the absence of an assistant town administrator position, this has been a fantastic addition. So good step in that direction for all of us. Certainly, once we progress forward, it will actually be a savings for us to have a stipended position of that nature versus a full-time assistant town administrator.
Good,
So-
very good.
Those are, I believe, the highlight items. If anything else does come up, I will address a few as we hit them on the action list, Mr. Chair.
Great.
No problem. I'm looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to everything on it. I'm looking at the list of things we have to do, and there are good things that are going to really move things forward in town, and I think that's going to bode well for everybody here and everybody in town. But I'm especially looking forward to, when I've been kind of preaching about this for a while, is the meeting with Bruce and Ann. Because I think that really sets the tone for a lot of things going forward and how we can collaborate more closely with them on initiatives for the town and for Cape Ann in general. So I think it's going to be great. Did you guys have anything for Mitch?
No, we rescheduled the CIPC meeting for next week or so.
Yes, we'll look to have it next week, give the commissioners and Joe time to have their discussion.
Perfect. Good. Did you have anything else, Mitch?
Nothing pressing. Again, there are a few items I'll address as they come up on the action list.
Perfect. Murphy, do you have
Nope,
anything?
I'm good, thank you.
And we'll go to the second half, which is the liaison reports. Ruthie?
I have nothing. I haven't had many liaison meetings. I have DPW Board of Commissioners tomorrow night, so I'll be going to that. And then next week I have CPC. So I'll be reporting in that after next week's meeting.
Perfect. Murph?
Nope, I'm good.
We're good. There was a planning board meeting that I emailed Herm and I couldn't make it. I apologize. I was away at the time. But I will be re-engaging in full force at the next meetings coming up, so that'll be a good thing. Yes, please.
Just real quickly on this issue.
Just identify.
Jason Shaw, 9 Way,
Not Jason Grow.
not Grow.
There you go.
Podium, Mr. Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just for the microphone?
For the microphone, if you don't mind, Jason? Thank you.
I'm on the planning board, and as you know, and I know a few months ago we talked, not so much about you, Mr. Campbell, about attending our meeting, but also the other way too, that someone from our meeting report to this board. I don't know if that has happened, what we're doing.
About one of you?
Yeah, I don't know if that, maybe that hasn't. Okay.
Well, of you coming here?
Not me personally, but, someone from
A member of the planning board?
Yeah.
I mean, anytime.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine. It's not a problem.
Well,
We'd love to have it.
The reason we're kind of important now is because two things. One, we've got a rewrite of the site plan review provisions in the current bylaws, which are really a mess. And I spent a lot of time, I'm an attorney, I spent a lot of time rewriting these. And we brought them to the other members of the planning board, their comments, we've made changes. So I think this next meeting, Don, will be important because we'll see where that's going to go.
I checked, has it been scheduled yet, Jason? Do you know the date?
Well, not for any public hearing or anything, but this is just, the regular meeting,
meeting.
which is the it's the first and third Thursdays of the month, so it'll be the next Thursday. And, that's going to be under discussion, and then, maybe to go to the next step, which could be, public hearing. The other issue where we've been talking about on a regular basis is the transportation-oriented development, which is, that's a much bigger project. And we've gotten a proposal we got a grant, this is before I became a member of the board, from MAPC, Massachusetts Area Planning Council, and we've had assistance from one of their planners on potential zoning change, and I said potential, it's really not anywhere near final, but for the area of the train station. The idea is housing to be built. I mean, this is the kind of the end game is housing to be built that will be more affordable perhaps than what the regular house in Rockport now costs, because it'll be, smaller units. They'll be accessible to public transportation. There's a lot to be done on this. We do have a gentleman, Russ Preston, who is the principal architect with a firm called Principal Architecture out of Boston. And he's kind of his firm has done is the genesis of all of this transportation-oriented development. I mean, they've written codes for it. They're very involved with it in other towns in Massachusetts. He has agreed to come to one of the planning board meetings in February to actually talk with us about, what's been done so far, what needs to be done. That will be very, very interesting. I mean, I'm impressed that this guy has agreed to do this, to come up all the way to Rockport. We'll probably take him out to dinner or something like that.
There you go.
But, that's about all he'll get at this point. But his group, if you look it up, anybody can look it up online, Principal Architecture or Principal Architects with PLE, not Principal, PAL. And they're a really top-notch urban design and planning firm more than anything. And if we could somehow get them involved in what we're trying to do here, that would be really a plus. So that's just where we are. I just wasn't sure where we were with our, reports to one another, as I think, and I know you board members think too, it's, you need to know what we're doing, and we need to know what you're doing, so.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And and just what you just did is really appreciated. It really, it gives you an idea of what direction things are going in and what the thoughts are behind different boards and committees, and thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
That's great, and we'll be looking forward to it. And I will be at those. The holidays got a little hectic, but
Understood.
We're-
Well,
we're gonna
it'll be a
read-
good one, the next meeting for you to
that'll be a
come
good
to.
one. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, very much.
Take care.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you, Jason.
That's great. Okay, I think that kind of covers it. Anybody have anything else? Nope. Okay. We're going to move on to the action list. Yep, we're on time here, so we're okay. Let's see, let's go to the appointment of David Stillman as a member of the Harbor Advisory Committee. Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint David Stillman as a member of the Harbor Advisory Committee for a term to expire on June 30th, 2021.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. David? Out here.
My name is he's already done his interview, so it's.
Oh, this is the appointment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, the appointment of, I should have read that first word. That was good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. That's great. The acceptance of the resignation/retirement notice of John Porter as Assistant Fire Chief.
I move that the Board of Selectmen accept the resignation of John Porter as Assistant Fire Chief for the purpose of retirement effective June 30th, 2019.
Motion been made
Seconded?
and seconded. When it comes to anything that's public service, police, fire, EMS, all of these things, not that every job isn't important, but especially these jobs, to say thank you to somebody like John Porter, who's given so much time and energy to this town, is, you can't do it justice. So from the bottom of everybody's heart, thank you, and we wish him well on his retirement, and thank him for his years of service. I believe it's 40-plus.
I believe it is over 40 years.
Over 40 years, so it really means a lot for somebody to dedicate that much time, because I know a lot of the firemen, obviously the police too, but when you talk to any of them, it's not a job to them, it's a passion, and it comes through in what they do. So to Jack, thank you. It really means a lot, and thank you on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
Yep, he's got another 5 months.
Yes.
5 months, that's right, yeah, that's good, perfect.
Can we send him a letter from the Board of Selectmen?
So the plan would be, we certainly will, and we'll also, as we get closer, have him come in to
Have
be
him come in for
recognized
something,
by
yeah,
the board.
absolutely.
So
Perfect.
yes.
That's great. Okay, and the motion's been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0.
And then, Mr. Chair, in this particular matter, just a quick update on the process for this particular position. My plan is to treat this one a bit differently than the board may have in the past. In the past, it was treated somewhat more of as a committee, but as we've been doing the last couple of years, we're handling it more as a department. So we'll be filling this vacancy as we would for any other actual position or department head. So we'll have individuals apply, we'll have a job description set up, we'll have individuals apply and standards they need to meet. And I've asked Lieutenant Schmink to coordinate that process for us as we move forward. So a final recommended candidate will come forward at the end of that process for the board. So we're going to treat it like we do with any other department head or administrator.
And we're going to still keep the 3 assistants.
So the board itself, the structure will stay the
Stay the
same.
same, yeah.
Just filling this particular vacancy because it does function very differently. The board itself is the administration of the department. It's a very unique thing. So the plan would be to treat it as an actual department head vacancy process. So we'll have an internal committee set up to recommend some names to me. I'll do the interview and then have somebody come in front of the board, the finalist, for your consideration.
Perfect. Thank you.
And with this, as you said, I think this is important, that there's going to be a job description associated with this that will be created that hasn't been there in the past.
Correct, yeah. As we move through and different positions come up, we take that opportunity to always review duties and functions and responsibilities, et cetera. So when we post the position, it'll have an associated duties and responsibilities with it.
Perfect. I think that's great.
Yep.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Okay.
you.
That's awesome. All right, so we're good on that. We'll move on to open the annual town meeting warrant.
I move that the Selectmen open the April 6, 2019 annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Anybody have anything?
No, that's,
Pretty standard, pretty routine stuff, right? Mitch, anything you want to throw in here?
Moderator has mentioned, may have been individually to you, but his plan is to recommend that the board move the meeting forward 1 week. So he'll be submitting a letter asking that the board move the date of town meeting to March 30th instead of April 6th, moving it forward a week. And he'll certainly explain his rationale in his letter. But just mark your calendar at the moment, March 30th for town meeting.
And when's Bob coming in?
I've been trying to catch up with him now that I'm back, so he'll submit his required letter, we hope, for the next meeting or so, within the
Okay.
next 2 meetings.
Perfect.
so it's going to be the 30th
That would be the
annual town meeting?
board's approval, yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna switch this around a little bit and get the people up front. Let's go right to the Boy Scouts. And we'll go with the approval of,
Just need to vote.
oh, I'm sorry, we didn't take the vote? I thought we took the vote
Not
on
yet.
that, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. I'm sorry, I thought we had that. All right, so we have next the, we need the motion on this one, please?
I'll let you.
K9?
Oh, K9. Oh, I'm sorry.
okay.
I move that the Board of Selectmen grant permission for the Rockport Boy Scouts Troop 20 to hold a car show at Back Beach on Sunday, July 28th, 2019, with a rain date of Sunday, August 4th, 2019, from 9:30 to 2 p.m.
Seconded?
Motion been made and seconded. Hi,
Hi,
welcome. Glad you're here.
thank you.
Tell us what's going on. It's awesome.
So the Rockport Boy Scouts.
Before you go, why
Troop
don't you introduce everybody?
Okay.
Would you like to do that?
Sure. My name is Patty Tucker. I am the Scoutmaster with Troop 20. I'm Patrick Morin. I'm a Star Scout in Troop 20.
And I am Thomas Beaton, Assistant Scoutmaster with Troop 20.
Thank you very much and welcome, all of you.
Thank you.
Continue, please.
So the Rockport Troop 20 Boy Scouts have proposed a car show, which we have done in the past. Our car show has raised about $2,500 to benefit our scouts. One of the big trips that we paid for with this money was our trip to Washington, D.C., where we did a special laying of the wreath with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, representing our town, Rockport.
I saw
And
that.
It was really exciting. I got to participate in that. It was really interesting and very breathtaking.
I think it was Patty's post. You put it up, didn't you? Yeah.
We also have paid for high adventure trips as well. We participated in Mass Jam this year, which is a camporee for all of the scouts in Massachusetts. It was down on the Cape. It was also an exciting event. More about Washington, we did a lot of stuff there, including the Arlington wreath laying, but we also kind of went around and did some sightseeing and learned more about our history as a nation, and then we got to bring that back and talk about that with our town during the scout meetings.
It's an amazing place, isn't it?
It is.
It really is.
Definitely. So the proposed dates, as you said, were Sunday, July 28th, 2018, same as in years past. The road closure, and we'd coordinate that with the Rockport Police Department. The rain date would be Sunday, August 4th. Same as above. A lot of community members come out and support us, and it's really exciting.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Is this something that can grow, or is it kind of
Oh, yeah.
maxed out at where it is?
So
Or
it's the
and how?
first year it went, we had 48 vehicles, and last year we almost doubled that.
Really?
So it's a lot of hard work. The boys and Patty and myself spend a lot of time going to other car shows.
Yeah.
We went as far as UMass Amherst last year, York, Maine, Rhode Island, and just bring flyers and go around and.
Don't you have criteria for what cars come in? I thought you wanted a certain set of.
We do.
Somewhat. What is it?
Nothing less than 86.
It's gonna go up though, because every year it gets older and older. but-
Yep.
Really?
86 wasn't that long ago.
No,
It wasn't.
but
It
if you think
wasn't.
about it, I mean,
Jeez, I was 2 years out of high school.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right? That's great.
and we filled the beach.
That's unbelievable.
pack it all up as much as we can. We get food, and a lot of people come down. People walk around, and they spend the whole day, and it's usually a good thing. We have trophies at the end of it, and
Wow.
Yep.
we've attracted a name for ourselves almost.
That's great. I actually have a very good friend who's very involved in that kind of world, if you will, and I'd be happy to put you in touch if that helps you out.
That'd be
Perfect.
You know,
fantastic.
very, very tied in with this stuff, so I'd be happy
Absolutely.
to help out. That's
That'd
fine.
be fantastic.
Well, that's great. So did you talk with the police chief, and did you have any conversations with them?
At this
Not
moment.
recently.
Not yet.
Not recently.
We want
Okay.
to start here first,
Yep.
like usual, and then, so probably after we get the approval, or when we get the approval, we'll move on and set up a meeting with him and Lieutenant Schmink to,
Just
cover that
finalize all
end
the
of it.
details.
Okay. You have a beautiful presentation you put together here. I don't want to see it go to waste. If we can, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
On our board, in the middle of the board, are photos from our trip, including Arlington National Cemetery in the middle. Then we have the Pentagon Memorial, which we saw at the Pentagon. The Boy Scout Memorial down the bottom right-hand corner. Then we, at Arlington, we also got to talk with an armsman from the U.S. Army who was doing a burial of a retired Army
World War II
World War II vet. So we got to talk to him, and he showed us around the cannons that they were using, and he told us a lot about that. Then we also visited at Dulles Airport, we visited the Smithsonian, and we saw the Discovery, which is on there. And
Excuse me.
we walked around on the sides. We have some photos of our cars that we had last year. The Massachusetts State Police always bring one of their cars down. That's really cool to look at, and some other cars. And at the top of each of the sides, we have on the left Summer Camp 2018, which was really fun. We do that every year at June Norcross Webster down in Connecticut. And then on the right is Mass Jam 2018.
That's awesome. You know, it's funny. One thing that I learned that I found really interesting, as far as the service members who do the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, there's one thing significant about earning that high honor. Do you know what that is?
I am not sure.
It's well, you probably wouldn't know, because I'm kind of out of left field on this, but I'll tell you, it's the only commendation, the only award that they can get that can be taken away from them after they're out of the service. And I found that really interesting, because they live their life by a code of conduct for the rest of their life. They've agreed to that, and I think that's really cool.
It is,
Yeah,
definitely.
That's pretty interesting.
And that's 24 hours, right?
It is,
Yes.
absolutely.
24/7, 365.
Yeah.
Snowstorms.
Yep.
you know.
And they actually, I want to say it was a couple of years ago, there was just a disaster of a storm that was coming through.
During
And
that winter, we had all that snow.
and they gave them the option of not standing guard, and they refused. They said, we're in.
Yep.
We've been here, we're not going to be the ones to do it. So I think it's fantastic. And their commitment to what they do is much like the commitment that the Scouts show to what you folks do. So I think it's great.
Thank you.
That we have a good, strong, vibrant troop in town. That's great. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That's
Thank you
great.
very much.
Yeah. Any questions, Ruth?
Nope, great
Congratulations.
presentation.
Thank you for
Great
coming.
presentation.
Thank you so
very
much. Yeah, it was fantastic. You put
Yep.
together a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patty.
Can we take a vote?
We're going to vote. I just wanted to give them a chance to, we are. I just wanted them to walk, that's all. Okay. Thank you very much. You've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Okay, who do we have? Let's see. What else can we go to? What can- I want-
K11?
K11, the
Woodland Acres
Okay, you want to,
property.
yep. Who's here for that? Perfect. Come on, we won't make you wait all night, so that's great.
That's
Is there a motion?
Yes, I move that the selectmen approve and sign a conservation restriction with the Essex County Greenbelt Association and Company on the property known as Woodland Acres.
seconded?
Motion's been made and seconded. Please, if you wouldn't mind, join us, whatever's more comfortable, the podium or a chair, whichever one you'd like. Up for the chair, most up for the chair, so that's good.
I'll have a seat.
There you go. If you just introduce yourself, that'd be great.
Certainly. Chris Lapointe, I'm the Director of Land Conservation with Essex County Greenbelt. Thank you for the time this evening. Thank you for moving us up on the agenda. I think you probably know the background here, but this is the Woodland Acres acquisition from a couple of years ago when the town, in partnership with Greenbelt, acquired 44 acres of the Woodland Acres property. A part of that transaction, both tied to funding that Greenbelt brought to bear for the transaction and also the requirements of the funding source that the town used, the Community Preservation Act, was that the town ultimately convey a conservation restriction to Greenbelt. We're finally at the point where we're ready to sign that document. So that's what's in front of you this evening. It's been approved and signed by the Conservation Commission, and this is really the last step before it goes back to the state for the secretary's signature, at which point we can record the document.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, this has been a while coming, and I think it's a great thing. We have some open space, and I think it'll work out very nicely. So thank you for your involvement. Thank you, pardon me, for your willingness to participate in this. It means a lot.
Certainly.
Thank you so much.
And thank you.
No, no questions.
You good?
Great.
Murph?
Nope, I'm good. Thank you so much.
Nice, short, and sweet. How was that?
Excellent.
There you go. Well, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
I think it's in our,
Mutual-
would it be in our
it's probably
packet?
It's in there to be signed, and
It's over in the pile here.
Needs to be signed and notarized.
yep,
and
I'm a notary. I'll take care of
Excellent.
that for them.
And I actually brought a clean signature page, which has the correct year in the notary
Great.
block, if you would like.
I'll take that, and we'll get it squared away and have it ready tomorrow.
Is this something he needs tonight? Should we?
I don't need it.
I don't have my stamp with me tonight, so.
Oh, okay. All right, no problem. All right, so we did this.
So just to Jerry, give it to you tomorrow, or do you? Okay. No problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, what else can we move up here to help anybody else? Who's here for? What, you want to go? Well, Millbrook is on discussion. We're going to hang on to that because I really want to get into some depth on that. So let's wait on that one. I'm sorry.
I don't believe anybody else is here for action items.
So we're good.
We can-
Okay, we'll just head down the list. We'll go to 4. Approve and sign a memorandum of agreement with Gloucester Police Department for mutual aid lockup.
And again, using the rule of necessity, I will vote on this because I usually don't vote on anything to do with the police department. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and ask that the chair to sign a memorandum of agreement with the Gloucester Police Department for mutual aid and lockup.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. What this is, I guess Gloucester had a flooding issue, and they needed to utilize our facilities, our lockup facilities. And it was done as a courtesy, but now it's going to be kind of codified in an agreement that's official that the chief has gone through and will work well. So it kind of sets the ground rules and the boundaries and who's responsible for what. So I think it's a great thing that we can work with the partner community, so.
We'll always help another department. This just sets some good guidelines
Right,
for all of us.
absolutely.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So with that said, any further discussion?
None.
Anything? Murph?
Oh,
No,
that's good. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. That's great. We'll move on to the disposition of fire department surplus vehicles. It's the old engine number 3. Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Selectmen declare the fire department's 1986 Ford Engine 3 as surplus town property.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion?
That's the one that's up at DPW?
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll have the name stripped off the side, and then it'll go on municipid.com and up for auction.
Yeah. How much do you think you can get for it, do you think?
Our expectation is several $1,000s. I'm not sure exactly what that's going to be. I'm told taking the name off lowers the value slightly, but I'm not comfortable leaving the name on it.
Yeah.
I think there's some liability issues for us on that, so I would think at least $5,000 for that vehicle.
Oh, nice.
It's the pump is in good shape. The vehicle's in good shape. The pump failed the pump test.
Right.
So that certainly caused an issue for us. But somebody could take the body off, and put a dump body on that or some other, and use that for years.
And that was in 86?
86, I believe.
Wow.
They serve well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Get a lot of use out of them. Well, that's great. Sorry to see it go, but out with the old, in with the new.
Yep.
We gotta stay modern, so that's a great thing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. Perfect. And let's move on to the disposition of DPW surplus vehicle.
I move that the Selectmen award Jeffrey Reed the sale of a 2004 Ford F-350 Unit 49 for $2,500, subject to the receipt of all required forms.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. So this one's done. This one is sold.
This one is out the
This is just
door.
us giving it the blessing to be able to go, so we're all
Yes, sir.
set. And what do we realize from this one?
$2,500.
2,500, perfect. That's great. All right, good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We'll go on to the approval of use of Harvey Park for the Earth Day event.
I move that the board approve the use of Harvey Park for the Conservation Commission to hold Earth Day 2019 on April 27th, 2019, from 9 to 2 p.m.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion. Great event.
Yep.
Great event. Everybody down there. It's another one of those events that creates vibrancy and life in the community. Things are going on downtown. It's nice to see that. Everybody benefits.
Yep.
So that's great. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We did the Boy Scouts, and we will move on to 113 Long Beach lease to reflect a change of address.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign a lease for 113 Long Beach with Andrea Grant, trustee, and Peter Gramis Jr., trustee of the Nancy J. Gramis Revocable Trust to reflect a change of address.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Fairly routine, just a routine. That's perfect. Okay, great. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. We did the Woodland Acres, the approval of yearly licenses, and I'm not even gonna go at this again. Victual.
We just go with
Whatever.
common Vic's license.
Common Vic's license, okay, good. Inn holders, entertainment, tax livery, and used car dealers. Is there a motion?
Okay. I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign 2019 common victuals license for the new Hong Kong Kitchen, Hula Moon, Heath's Tea Room, Pigeon Cove Tavern at the Emerson Inn, The Fudgery, Ellen's Harborside Restaurant, Yankee Clipper Inn, Helmut Strudel of Bearskin Neck, Rockport Market, The Fish Shack, Roy Moore Lobster Company, Rockport Music, My Place by the Sea, Seventh Wave Restaurant, The Red Skiff, Sandy Bay Yacht Club, Brackett's Ocean View Restaurant and Brothers Brew Cafe, Nate's at Front Beach, Dunkin' Donuts, Salty's Lobster Dog and More, The Lobster Pool, Tux Retail Corporation, Feather and Wedge, and American Legion.
That's a group right there.
Yeah. Second.
That is great. That's great. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? We good? Fairly, again, just a kind of yearly housekeeping measure. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries, and we'll sign.
Yep.
Good.
You get the next one, Paul.
Aye.
Oh, here we go. This is,
Aye.
well, this is going to be the approval of the contract for DAF plant filter bed design, engineering repairs, and with Weston and Sampson.
Actually,
No.
Mr. Chair, if I may, still several items underneath the licensing one.
Yeah.
There are a few bullet points.
Did I miss it?
It's
I'm
the next
sorry.
one.
Oh.
The top.
Right here.
Yeah.
I move that
Go.
okay, good. I move that the board approve and sign 2019 inn holder license for Addison Choate Inn, Emerson Inn, the Tuck Inn, Lantana House, Quarter Deck Inn by the Sea, Cape Edge Inn, Seafair Inn, Bearskin Neck Motor Lodge, Sally Webster Inn, Yankee Clipper Inn, Eden Pines Inn, Pleasant Street Inn, Linden Tree Inn, King Street Inn, 7 South Street Inn, Eagle House Motel, Rockport Inn and Suites, Captain Bounty on the Beach, and the Sea Robin.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion?
None.
Very good. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. Next.
I move that the board approve and sign the 2019 taxi livery licenses for Gloucester Taxi and Livery Service.
Second.
Made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, further discussion. I jumped ahead.
Nope.
We're good? Okay, sorry about that. Next.
I move that the board approve and sign the 2019 entertainment license for Ellen's Harborside Restaurant, Rockport Music, Brackett's Ocean View Restaurant and Brothers Brew Cafe, the Fish Shack Restaurant, Spiron Lodge number 98, and the Feather and Wedge.
Seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-0. And the last one.
I move that the board approve and sign the 2019 used car dealer's license for Sandy Bay Service Center.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion?
No.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We now will move on to the approval of contract for DAF plant filter bed design engineering repairs with Weston and Sampson.
I move that the Board of Selectmen approve and sign an agreement with Weston and Sampson, CMR and Company, 5 Centennial Drive, Peabody, Massachusetts, for the filter under drain replacement services and dissolve air flotation plant in the amount not to exceed $33,700.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded. This is, what happened? Motion's been made and seconded. This is a repair that needs to be done. We had an emergency.
Yes, this is engineering services for the, to start the repair process and figure out what needs to happen with the dissolved air flotation plant and the structural damage to the filter beds and chamber.
Right, perfect. Okay, great. Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion on this one? Nope, Murph?
Nope, I'm all good.
All in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Oops.
Aye.
You're welcome. Aye. Motion carries 3-0. So there we go. Now we will move on to the Millbrook Meadow Playground equipment. Sorry to keep you waiting, Sam. And folks, have a seat up at the table, and if you wouldn't mind, just introduce everybody, Sam. How can I help you with that? Is there something we can do?
You can probably just prop it up against this table.
Okay. Thank you. You sit down. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Sam Colburn. I'm the chairman of the Millbrook Meadow Committee, and with me is Laura Hallowell, who is the liaison, the point person for carrying out the contract with Simco and DPW, and Barbara Sparks, who is our point person for art and play in the meadow, and she's been the driving force for playground equipment, including the whale. So, Barbara?
Okay, well, I brought this poster because it shows you the context of the play equipment. The frog pond is over here, and the play equipment is about where the old equipment was. And the stone wall. Well,
Yep, that's okay.
the stone wall is along here,
Mhm.
which is the border of the property. There are trees in the abutting property.
The wall that's there, Barbara, that's behind, that's where the water
stream
water
is.
comes through,
Yeah.
on the backside, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No, this
Is it?
private property wall. This is the, so the stream goes behind the wall. on the
Right,
private
okay.
property. And so there'll be a row of rhododendrons behind this, and there'll be soft surfacing. This was the artistic license, was to do this in the shape of a fish, which is kind of cute, but it won't be that way. Actually, we're working on that right now because it has to be level, and there's a grade change there, and so there's discussions with the consultant and with Krista Rosa, who's working with our committee.
Oh,
About
perfect.
how to mitigate that. So this is what the equipment looks like in concept, and then I have pictures. And we had in your packet these pictures, but these just came today. These are the actual colors that we've chosen, and they're
Oh, wow.
Nice.
leaf, twig, and acorn.
That's,
The name of the color is pretty.
So they're very muted.
Really
so
blends
that
in
fit with
nicely.
the-
It certainly does.
with the
Wow.
landscape.
is the slide going to be stainless as it shows?
It is.
What about the heat in the summertime? Would that
We
be?
got that question a lot, but go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Plastic gets hot as well, and there will be some shade, fortunately, but it won't get hotter than plastic. And the thing about plastic is that it generates an electric shock, slight electric shock, but that's not why we chose it. We chose the stainless steel for durability and for the fact that it really, it looks very pretty. And it's going to look great in this setting.
Very nice.
Please continue.
So, the company that we are working with that designed this is called Landscape Structures. They're in Minnesota. They have factories there. It was founded by a couple in 1966. The idea started to generate, and then they founded the company in 1971. So they've been in business a long time. They have 400 employees.
Oh, wow.
And they've actually developed a lot of the pieces of the equipment, the swivel joints, the kind of twine they use, the polyester yarn that won't fray, their various finishes. So we feel very comfortable that this company is going to manufacture a good piece of equipment for us. Their warranty on this particular design is 100 years.
Wow.
So, which is pretty amazing. So we wanted something durable and long-lasting, and this is what we've chosen. The company has lots of certifications. The one you hear most often is Consumer Product Safety Commission. And that was another one of our guidelines, is that we wanted equipment that passes all the safety regulations, since this is a town park. What else? The swing set will have 2 sets of swings for toddlers that are bucket seats. They're called full bucket seats. And then there are 2 belt seats that are for 2 through 12, so depending on the child.
It's kind of what was there before, wasn't it? Kind of.
No.
I remember the bucket
You'd be
seats, and
amazed.
they were buckets, and they were the,
Only 1 year.
was it just 1 year?
The last year we got a bucket seat, but before there were just the,
Sam,
Yeah.
why don't you move that microphone over in the middle of you two folks? That's okay.
so we only were able to get the toddler swing the last year before they had to be removed for the construction. Maybe a long time ago there were, but
Yeah. Oh, I'll say something else about the sliding boards. There are 2 slides. One is a wave, so it's not straight down, and the other is the spiral. There's a platform between the 2 of them that is strong enough for an adult to go up with the child, which is something new for us.
and also you chose it because it covers the young children and the older
older
children. So it'll go up to what age?
12. The 2 to 5 and 5 to 12. So it covers both age groups. What else? Oh, the installation will be done by a company called Nelum, N-E-L-M. They are a certified playground installer that works with this company that manufactures this equipment frequently. They are in Rockland, Massachusetts, family-run business, and they have 40 years of experience. So I
Not to
think
be
we-
confused with Rockport.
Not to be confused with Rockport, so this is a good team. So,
Tell them a little bit about the bottom, the surface.
The surface, there has to be excavation 12 inches deep, which will be part of what our contractor is doing, Sumco. And then there will be a soft surfacing of, it looks like wood chips, it's a wood fiber, but it's particularly made for playgrounds. It's not what you buy at Ace Hardware. Not that that's not good, but this is special, gives some flexibility if a kid falls on it. There's also a delineated area around each piece of equipment that has to be protected. It's a safe fall area, about 6 feet all the way around. Of course, it's different for the swings and the slides, because the swing, you cover a lot of area when you're
Sure.
swinging. So,
So the area that you're talking about covering, which right now looks like a whale or a fish, That's not going to be like
That's not
that?
going to be in that location.
Okay.
And we have not chosen a location for that yet.
His question was about the area under the.
Underneath
swings.
the.
Under the swings?
Yes.
It's not a whale.
It's
a-
not-
It's an oval.
It's an oval.
It's an oval, okay.
Sort of.
I just think it looks kind of cool. I think it
It
looks awesome.
does. Well,
It is.
I'm not, you guys have done yeoman's work on this. I'm not going to interrupt it, but I think it's beautiful, but go ahead.
it's going to be really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have, one more thing, I'll just say this Landscape Structures Company. Their mission is enhancing the lives of children through play while honoring the environment. So I thought that was very appealing, too, about that company.
I know that's something that you folks really took seriously about.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, that piece of
Yeah.
it, and I think it was great. And you kept it in the
It's the
kind of minimalist, if you
The
will.
most compact
Right.
that we could get.
Right.
And still have all the pieces that we need.
Because it's a great place for parents to go with their kids and do that, but it shouldn't, the playground equipment is not the focus of what's there. It's just
Right.
happens to be there, I guess, is the best way to look at it.
Yeah, and we considered just about every area possible in the meadow and kept going back to that area where the original equipment had been. It's not so visible from Beach Street, so it doesn't strike you that you're going into a playground, but it's tucked into that corner and, close to the frog pond. And we've, in saying exactly where it's going to go, we've moved it forward 2 feet, back 2 feet, over, trying to save particular trees, and I think gotten it to exactly the.
This will be essentially where the old one was, right next to the frog pond. And I think the kids of Rockport and the visitors will love it. It's a jump ahead of the old one that collapsed when they moved it to get ready for the dredging last year. And we're really excited about the new equipment. We're still raising funds to pay for it, though. So it's a scramble because it's a very excellent piece, and the installation is rather extensive. Goes down about 3 feet, I think.
No, 12 inches. Well, the concrete.
You know about the whale?
The whale
we
is,
saw it.
the whale is
Could you give them a few?
gorgeous. Oh, my God. The whale is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, my God.
Well, this sculptor is just an incredible person that can bring stone to life. It's amazing.
I mean, that really has, in my opinion, has the potential to be a showpiece in Rockport.
Oh, I would
You
be,
know, I mean, it's
be
just
thrilled
gorgeous.
if that
And
happened.
it's from Johnson Quarry.
Beautiful, even
It
better.
was amazing.
The
Even
sculptor
better.
is from Kittery, Maine, but he came down here and picked out the piece that he wanted from Johnson Quarry and then trucked it back up there. And now he's finishing it up in Maine, and he'll bring it down when we're ready for it.
Yeah.
And Barbara's in charge of locating it because it depends on how the brook gets shaped up, because we're just starting to cut the brook, the new course of the brook. Anything more on the whale?
Well, I'll just say that in order to, when the brook is realigned, when we're able to see it, which will probably be about the middle of February, when we'll actually be able to walk along it and see what it looks like. I thought, how can we visualize what this whale is going to look like? I'm calling it she, is 10 feet long and 2 to 3 feet high. The fluke is actually a little higher than that. So imagining that volume, I was having some difficulty with that. So a fellow named Mark DiGiovanni offered to help our committee in any way he could. He's a carpenter, a metal crafter, and a theater stage designer. So I said, Mark, we need to visualize this whale. He said, oh, he's going to make a cutout out of wood of this whale so that we can take it around
Place it and
various
figure it out.
positions. And our artist that we work with, Heidi Caswell-Zander, who did that poster, will actually paint on this piece of wood so it'll actually look like a whale. So we have a portable pseudo whale, that we can move around.
That's awesome.
That's great.
We're going to name the whale? Have a naming contest.
Well, the sculptor said he needed a name to inspire him. So he suggested Nefertiti or Cleopatra. And I thought
Not very nautical, but okay.
Cleopatra
Very Sandy
shortens
Bay-ish.
nicely to Cleo. But so I'm calling her Cleo, but that may or may not
I
be
kind of
her
like that.
name. We may have some kind of a contest or,
I think that's fun.
you know.
Could be Millie the
it'll be-
whale,
Yeah.
Millbrook Park, Millie.
Millie.
Oh,
Millie.
that's an idea. Look at that, right off the
Millie.
cuff. Wow.
Millie the whale.
She shoots, she scores. Good one. I like that.
So the cost for the playground equipment and the whale, is that coming, because I'm looking at your poster which says Millbrook Meadow Conservancy.
Right.
So is it coming from the conservancy money?
Yes.
Yes,
It's,
okay.
all of the money for the whale was donated by private donors.
Wow.
And all of the money for the playground is donated from private donors, including Institute for Savings, which gave us a $10,000 grant. And we're currently raising the rest of the money for the playground equipment.
Great.
And
And the Rockport Garden Club gave us a nice
Yes.
donation for the whale.
I just wondered, Laura Hallowell, I just wondered if you had any questions about what's going on that I could answer for you.
No, I
We've-
tried to go down there the other day, but I was blocked by the guys. They're like,
Well, if you look over the Beach Street wall,
Yeah.
you can see
Yeah.
about
yeah, they
maybe
do.
70 feet that's
they're doing
pretty
such-
much completed.
Yep.
And now they're cutting the stream channel for the next part, and it will go back and forth.
Yep.
Back to the former area and then out through the dogwood thicket, and it will be slowed because the water will turn,
Right.
and they're building little walls to make sure that it
Yeah.
keeps in the right place.
Yeah.
Sloping
It'll be
banks so that
beautiful.
with floods, it can fill up and not overtop, but have more volume, so.
And,
What did you?
what we're
go ahead, sir.
doing is, we're returning the brook, and we've probably mentioned this before, we're returning the brook to its old course. When John Poole and Mr. Tarr came and divided up the place, about that time, they called it Davison's Run. And then they named it Millbrook when they developed a mill. And they built the mill pond, and then they built Mill Dam in 1702. And in 1946, the DPW needed to get the water out of the railroad avenue area, and they just converted it into a straight ditch with granite armor. And that's what you've been seeing all your life, unless you were born before 1946, as some of us were. And now we're returning it. And doing the research for the new course, we found the gravel that was likely to have been the old stream bed, right in the dogwood patch. And so the new path will be actually pretty much the old water course. It'll be winding. It'll have sides that absorb extra runoff, so you won't have the flooding of the meadow that we have so often in the springtime. And it will have lots of aquatic plants and greenery by the sides of it, and stonework. Kids will be able to jump over on the stepstones in some places. And there will be more on the other side, a few feet, up to 20 feet, I think, in some places, more on the other side of the brook. Whereas now you can hardly walk on the other side of the brook because it's so sloped and so forth. But it'll be, you'll have access to that. At least kids will. They can jump over.
It seems like the focus really has been on longevity, ease of maintenance,
Yeah.
things like that. My question is the lighting. What did you decide on the lighting? Or have you?
The electrical we did not have enough money to include the electrical work. We're going to get an estimate this week of limited electrical to allow things like the acoustic festival to
Right.
plug in. And there has been no decision on lighting at the mill pond. I think the current status is that we're kind of thinking of really low solar lights or something, just so people don't bump into the granite at night, but
Right.
We originally planned a solar-powered light, a large arc light for lighting for kids skating. we got a lot of local opposition. And so we thought we'd just let that settle for a little while, and if there's significant support in the community for it, we'll raise the money for that. But what Laura mentioned is we're going to have outlets for, you know, that if you put on a festival or something in the meadow, we've had many, many of them over the years, you have to go borrow money from borrow electricity from an abutter, plug into the Adrian Schultz's electricity or somebody else right there. Is that any way to run a town park? So we're going to have water service in order to irrigate, water the plants and trees and so forth.
That was my
And
next
we're also
question.
going to have that limited electrical. And there'll be a possibility later on, if the town wants it, to put in more lighting, low lighting, for instance, along the path or in the area of the dam.
The water is not an irrigation system, it's 6 or 7 different
Hose
buried hose connections in case of drought, so we can get out there and keep the plants alive.
And who's taking care of everything after the fact? Is that the garden club? Who's taking care of?
It's not Garden
I mean-
Club, it's Millbrook Meadow Committee and
So
the
it'll all be
DPW.
mobile? Good. And DPW?
Yep, I mean, they're gonna still cut the grass.
Guarantee period,
It's a 1-year warranty where Sumco will be weeding, watering, replacing any plants that need to be for 1 year.
1
And then
year,
after
good.
that, it's turned over to the town. We anticipate creating a list of volunteers that I would probably be managing to adopt different parts of the meadow, but we're gonna have to sort of see how it all works out.
and we'll be coordinating with DPW to develop a line item for maintenance of the meadow, because we've been struggling with this since 1938. And volunteers are good, but it would sure be good to have a small line item for a person to look after the meadow a few hours a week. So we'll be talking. You'll see us back about that.
I'm sure we will. And happily so, that's great. Well, thank you.
Has the pond frozen at all this year?
Yeah.
No, not enough for kids to
There's a
skate?
little bit of skimp is all so far.
Yeah. We got a long way to go, though.
We're hoping for some cold weather because it would be a lot easier for the construction if the ground were frozen.
Is that right, really?
That mud down there is incredible. It's so slippery.
Yeah.
Don't go near
Yeah.
it.
I
you
tried
have
to
get
and they
cold
pushed
from,
me away.
I think tomorrow on.
I think so.
For the foreseeable.
Are you happy with the final outcome of the dredging and everything that went on? Everything is good?
The pond looks wonderful.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does, it looks exquisite. But, I
Most
mean.
of the visitors, the townspeople seem to appreciate it also. You can see the difference. You might think dredging, how can you tell the difference between 4 feet of sludge and now a depth of 6 feet? But you can. It's the water is bluer, it's clearer, and the edges where they've repaired the granite and put it back into shape, they rebuilt the wall over on the west side, which was just a broken concrete blocks before, and planted a couple of trees and several plants along the shore of the pond, and it looks a lot better.
There's a lot more animal life.
Yeah, good.
And the animals like it.
It's going to become very vibrant there with, that's awesome.
Now, at the time, we talked about the DPW doing the thing under the road. Did they do that at the culvert
I
underneath?
think Joe said that work is going to be happening, and I know that they did get a grant to install a grate on the ocean side that can be let down when there's a storm.
Oh,
to
good,
keep
okay.
all the
All that
ocean
stuff from
debris
coming
from
back up
washing
and
up.
killing- yeah, oh,
So
good.
I believe
All that
that's
sand
been
and- yep.
received, and that'll be happening, but I'm not quite sure when the culvert itself will get work.
Yeah, 'cause
But
we would-
with the new stream configuration, it ought to work better.
Yeah, because we wouldn't want it to backwash and just all come up into there and
Right.
ruin all the good work that you've done.
Right.
Great.
At least that lower 70 feet is largely rock. It will have plants in the summer, it'll have sedges and
Yeah.
rushes and things, but if there is seaweed washed up there, it's not going to damage anything.
Right, yeah. Great job.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Long time coming,
And
but
to everybody that's not here, Shannon,
And we
Charmaine, everybody
appreciate
else.
the people of town of Rockport for and CPC, Community Preservation Committee, for all the work in getting this thing financed and
Yes. that
to the
was
point we are now.
Huge. Thank
You know, when things go along and money's involved, people always like to yell, but at the end, when you see the final product, it's all worth it in the end, and you see it. It's an investment in our community.
it is.
So I think
Yeah.
it's great. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
support.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. And with that, the next item we had is now being put off to the 15th on the Dogtown nomination. And I think that any other business or announcements or anything else? What do you think?
Did you want to read this? Are you supposed
Oh, yeah, let me do that, please. That'd be great if you don't mind. That's why everybody comes.
Thank you.
I'll go quick. Selectman Campbell signed the payroll warrant number 24 totaling $252,054.82. Pardon me. An expense warrant 24 totaling $399,532.26 on December 12, 2018. Selectman Campbell signed the payroll warrant number 25 totaling $550,830.19. An expense warrant number 25 totaling $170,507.38 on December 18, 2018. Selectman Campbell signed the payroll warrant number 26 totaling $112,360 and no cents, and expense warrant number 26 totaling $446,118.39 on December 26, 2018. Selectman Campbell signed the payroll warrant number 27 totaling $539,852.21, and expense warrant number 27 totaling $107,529.22 on January 3rd, 2019. Selectman Campbell signed the payroll warrant number 28 totaling $127,572.49, and expense warrant number 28 totaling $144,936.80 on January 8th, 2019. And that is that. Once again, I ask, any other business or announcements? The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you.